Welcome back to the One Celtic, the dogs try to get in, the One Celtic fans view this evening. Lots of big breaking news and transfer talk and speculation, you'll say. It's just speculation. But yes, there's lots of stuff to talk about tonight. I think that the big story of the evening is obviously Lennon Miller from Motherwell. Celtic are looking to spend a good bit of money on the player. And let's jump into the comment section first of all, just to say good evening to everyone. That's fine, I can turn that back down. So let's jump into the comment section, say good evening to everyone. We are running a poll already, and it's got 108 votes already. I got the poll up early. I want to try and get as many people on the poll as possible. Would Lennon Miller be a good buy for Celtic? Well, there's not only that breaking news, there is other breaking news this evening regarding a striker. And it's a striker that's been linked with Celtic before. So we'll talk about that in a minute. And there's also Alexandro Bernabe news to talk about also. So there's 130 votes now. Would Lennon Miller be a good buy for Celtic? And 93% say yes. The people that are saying no, tell me why in the comments. I'm going to jump onto the comment section that is absolutely buzzing already. Absolutely buzzing already. And the viewers is buzzing already. We'd like to know Danny Cassie was in the house, Tam Mack's in the house, David's in the house, Lorna Gallagher's in the house, Paul's in the house. Little gamers in the house, get the lad signed up and get them back for the rest of the season. That's exactly the breaking news that is now. Let me get through everyone first of all, and I want to get through as many people on the chat as possible first, as we always do on this channel. Little gamers in the house. Hail, hail troops, and International Week is boring. Well, it's not boring tonight. That was I'm reading more in comments. Diane says definitely would pay that for him. Quality, good player, especially for our system. Well, it's not just him that we're looking at. There's someone else. James says sign the young Prince from Hearts from left back. Kaiser's in the house saying that hail, hail legend. Lennon Miller would be an amazing buy, and let's face it, he's a future captain at Celtic. And the fact is, look, he was named after Neil Lennon. You know what I mean? So he was born. The kid was born to play for Celtic. Anybody that's named after Neil Lennon, I mean, he has to be named after Neil Lennon. If his dad comes out and says, nah, he's not named after Neil Lennon. He was born in 2003. Celtic were in Seville in 2003. And Mark says there's only one Lennon, and that's Neil Lennon. Well, we'll wait and see about that. Hazel says the financial position of Celtic are in just now. We should look to buy up decent Scottish talent. It makes sense. It does. It does. And I think that it's a fantastic deal if we get it done. And if it's going to cost us up to $5.5 million in total, I think it'll be money well spent, because I think that he's a fantastic young talent. Dave Morton says, hail, hail, Baz, is it true? Joe Miller's son. Anyway, Defo, I have no idea. Good news, I'm going to have a grandson in March. Buzzing. Absolutely buzzing. That'll be me, 7 grandkids. Jesus God, man, 7 grandkids. How the hell do you cope? Oh, man, fair play to you, Davey Morton, with your 7 grandkids. Fair play to you, mate. You're so proud. There's 7 more to carry on the family name. Anyway, Dave Morton says Pubcat's in the house. He's Lee Miller's son, ex-Aberdeen striker. Well, there you go. Kaiser's, I'm just going to jump through Dave Morton. Lorna Gallagher's in the house. And Michael Ross is in the house. Dave Morton's in the house. Bobski's in the house. Andrew Colligan's in the house. Dave Morton. Saneri's coming in from North London. Stephen Johnson's in the house. Catholic Rebels in the house. Gary is in the house. Danny Cassie's in the house. And I think of Bobby Reed's in the house. Bobski's in the house. Catholic Rebel. Carly's just came in. Cobus, Lennon is a steal at that money. He's a replacement for Callum in a few years. Everyone seems to be talking about that. I'm just going to jump right through to the end of the comments. Dave Lamont's in the house. Jamesy Boy's in the house. John Paul McCann is in the house. Sign Lennon and send him back to Motherwell. Well, that is what has been said tonight. Big Dez in the house. Charlie Lacey's in the house. Also in Tom Courtney. The Huns will be bailing us, so they were after him. So the story goes that Celtic are about to make Lennon Miller the first signing of the winter transfer window. Seemingly that both Glasgow clubs are after the highly rated 18-year-old. The Rangers have said that they'll go to 3.5 million. That is nowhere near adequate from what Motherwell they want for the player. Celtic, on the other hand, are prepared to make a move for the teenager and make him the most expensive signing between two Scottish clubs of all time. Celtic are preparing a bid of 5.3 million in January. That could include add-ons to take it up to 6.5 million, depending on appearances in the Champions League, appearances, title wins, and a healthy sell-on fee as a sweetener. We know that Celtic do like to add on a sell-on fee, and if Celtic go in and say, look, we'll give you 15% of any future sell-on fee, plus we'll give you up to 6.5 million for the player, Motherwell are going to go, show us the money. And then, to add insult to injury to Rangers, Celtic are then going to loan him back to Motherwell for a 6-month period to get the deal over the line. So it means that he would not become an official Celtic player. He would be an official Celtic player. He would sign for Celtic and he'd go right back on loan to Motherwell for the rest of this season, which is absolutely fantastic. Celtic are keen to get the deal done before next summer, when the likes of Liverpool and Newcastle could make a move for the player. Motherwell believe he's worth around about 8 million, but will be likely swayed by the sell-on clause by Celtic, and they believe it to be around about 20%. Celtic's recent records of selling players for 20 million plus, if Motherwell can get another chunk of that cash in the future, it would mean it's a no-brainer deal for Motherwell. I mean, if they can get 5 million or whatever up front for the player, and then that rises up to 6.5 million, and then 15 to 20% sell-on clause, Celtic have got it done and dusted, haven't they? They've got it over the line. Hopefully, that's one that I'd like to see get done, because let's face it, Celtic have got a good relationship with Motherwell over the years. We brought some fantastic players from Motherwell. One player that was a cracking player in his time, who sadly passed, and then another player recently in Turnbull. We got Turnbull, who we still managed to sell Turnbull, even though we got Turnbull. I can't even remember what we paid for Turnbull, but we ended up selling him for 3 million, with only 6 months left on his contract. So, Celtic fans, the question was in the live this evening. It was put up straight away as soon as this information came out. Would Lennon Miller, Zach Donnelly, 3.5 million is Doll Hairs. They have false, says Zach Donnelly. Would Lennon Miller be a good buy for Celtic? And 8 to 9% say yes, 11% say no on the poll so far. There's been over 250 people voted so far. It shows you just getting the vote up early is fantastic. Now, in other transfer news, it's a massive night for Celtic and transfers. You've got to say it's speculation, but this one is coming out of South America, this one, and we all know that we have an Argentinian player, Alexandro Bernabe, who Celtic seemingly rate at around about £8 million, but I can't see that at all. I can't see Celtic wanting to double their money on a player that they sent out on loan and that only played 18 or 19 games for Celtic. But anyway, International are planning on having talks with Celtic in a bid to hammer out a deal with Bernabe. They're looking to send someone over to Scotland to get the deal done and dusted by the end of the year. Celtic see him as a flop. The Brazilians see him as an absolutely massive player. He's got 3 goals and 4 assists in 30 appearances. Not very good, you would say, but for a player that plays in the position that he does, that's prompted the bosses of the Brazilian club to make a move for the Argentinian left back. If he was worth 8 million, surely Celtic would go, nah, you're coming home, son. You're coming home. But it looks like his loan is due to expire in December, but his contract runs to May 2027. Celtic are looking to get a return on the 3.5 million that they paid for him in 2022. I would be surprised if Celtic were going to be that difficult to deal with, and I don't believe the valuation of 8 million is anywhere close or anywhere realistic to what Celtic would be looking to get. I think if Celtic can recoup their 3.5 million, I think they'd be saying happy days. I mean, tell me what you think in the comments. Do you think that, I mean, I think it's a nonsense story completely that Carly's giving memberships. I think it was just it's a nonsense story that if we're trying to get £8 million for a player that had such limited time at Celtic. Anyway, George Cannon's been gifted a membership by Carly. I'd like to see us sign Alex Baye in January, trying to do a deal with Barca. Barcelona want him back for next season. They want him back next season as they see him as backup. Whether the player, and this is where it's going to get interesting in the summer, whether the player would like to go back to Barcelona and play second fiddle and sit on the bench for the majority of the season, or if Celtic can somehow do a deal with Barcelona, can we get Alex Baye in? Now, there's a third transfer story tonight. There is a third transfer story, and I've not even got my visuals up. So we've spoke about the Alexandro Bernabe one, and we've spoke about this guy, Miller. Do you like that? Do you like the graphics that we've got on the live tonight? Both. So Bernabe looks like that he will be sold from Celtic, and I don't think that if... Look at it this way, right? If we sell Bernabe for, say, 5 million, there's 5 million in the door. We sell him for 5 million. We then go and buy Lennon Miller for 5 million. Celtic's not spent a penny. Do you know what I mean? It's actually a bit of get the deal done. Get the deal done. You know, get Bernabe sold for 5 million, and then put that 5 million straight over to Motherwell and buy the one and only Lennon Miller. Anyway, there is another bit of breaking news tonight. Remember this guy? He was linked to Celtic a couple of seasons ago, and it's been an off-on whether he would come to Celtic or not. Now, it is my understanding that Celtic are sending scouts over to watch the player. Yep, again, Celtic are looking to send scouts to monitor the Danish forward, Mathias Kidsfordgarden. Now, the fact that he plays for Denmark and the fact that we've got the Danish goalkeeper, could that be a thing that could just help the deal over the line? Brøndby's recent match against Nordsjælland, where Kidsfordgarden put in another solid performance, this report says. The 22-year-old attacker, who's notched up 10 goals and 4 assists this season, proving to be a versatile asset, capable of both on the wing as a central striker. Celtic's interest in Kidsfordgarden goes back a couple of seasons, and it was suggested that Celtic may go for him this summer, but instead we did a last-minute deal for the... wrong ones, get them back up. We did a last-minute deal for Adam Ida. Now, the manager did say in the summer that he was looking to buy 2 strikers. Would Celtic go out and get Kidsfordgarden also? If Celtic make these moves for these type of players, it tells you one thing, and the board are backing Brendan Rodgers 110%. Now, I did say in this morning's video also, I said, if this is the level that Celtic are looking at, what would be the implications for Brendan Rodgers, who, after this season, is only contracted to Celtic for 1 more season? And will Brendan Rodgers be offered a new contract? I think he should be, just to protect. If Celtic are going down the road of protecting our assets, getting players on lengthy contracts so that we can sell them for high fees, it's only fair that we do the same with the manager, don't you think? I think that, I mean, if we manage to get Kidsfordgarden, if we get Lennon Miller and Kidsfordgarden within the next 6 months, I think that says something about where Celtic are going. But what it also says is, if you're bringing in Lennon Miller, you've then got Luke McCowan playing in the same position. You've got Lennon Miller coming in, who he's not going to be happy just sitting around on the bench. I mean, he's basically running that midfield sometimes for Motherwell. They see him, he's a first-team player. I mean, he knows he's going to come to a big club and he's going to have to fight for positions, but doesn't mean that it's the end of the road for Rio Hatate this coming summer. I have said that Celtic will try to maximise the financial gain that they'll get from Rio Hatate, and the way that Rio has been playing this season, to me, when you look at it and what's happened in the past, I think this will be Rio Hatate's last season at Celtic. So getting Lennon Miller in this window so that he's ready and the deal's done, there's no mucking about in the summer, we know he's a Celtic player. I think it's very prudent by Celtic. And I'll tell you one thing, for that Peter O'Rourke, who said that Celtic weren't going to spend any money in the coming transfer window, well, his story's just been thrown right out the window, hasn't it? But where's the Lennon Miller coming from? Where's this Lennon Miller news coming from? There's quite a few people talking about, quite a few, but the ones that broke the story is looking like Football Gospel on Facebook. It looks like they broke the original story this evening. But there's other Celtic publications that have jumped all over it, so it's not coming from the mainstream media, this at all, and it is coming from internet-based. I'm just reading one of the other stories. Anyway, I think that the Kidsford Garden is the one that we really need to be thinking about, because we do need another striker. And I think that everyone knows that Adam Eder is okay, but if we need a direct replacement for Kyogo's time at Celtic could be coming to an end this summer as well. So it would be interesting to see if there's any bids coming for Rio Hatate and Kyogo Furiashi. We can go and get Lenny on a pre-contract and avoid the 8 million. No, we can't, because they'll want to sell him. They'll sell him for the 8 million. They'll not let him run down his contract. He's got 2 years in his contract. Why would you want to do that? If you want to get the player, get him in. Do not risk trying to let Motherwell's not going to let him walk away for nothing. The value of my 8 million, there's absolutely no chance. Anyway, Celtic Girl says Defo's winter now, Carly. What? It's Baltic everywhere. Yeah, I know it is. It's even cold here. Anyway, right, we move on. Let's see what the poll is doing this evening. There's been 353 votes saying, would Lennon Miller be a good buy for Celtic? I think the 356 votes, that's quite good for this time of night, and especially during an international break. Anyway, we've been on for 17 minutes. We'll end the poll, see if there's going to be any more votes. Wait and see if there's any more votes coming, and then we'll end this poll just to get it finalised. 257, it's not going up that fast, is it? Right, let's end that poll and see what the fans said. The question was, would Lennon Miller be a good buy for Celtic? 88% said yes, 11% said no. There was 359 votes. Thank you to everyone who did vote for that. Anyway, I just thought it was an interesting story. It's one. I mean, there is one guy on this channel who has been speaking about Lennon Miller for some time, and that's Lanky. I don't know if he's on tonight, but Lanky's been talking about him since last season, saying that Celtic should go for him. And I think that if Celtic need to get players in that are Scottish, and it's as simple as that. If we do lose our left back in the next transfer window, we will need to get another Scottish player in for the Champions League for next season. That's if we win the league, obviously. Man City will come in for Kyogo. I doubt it. They were wanting Kyogo as a winger, but I don't think so. But let's hope he does. If Man City do come in for him, we'll take a good 15 to 20 million for him. Anyway, sign Miller, and the Huns can sign Bonner Barron. Right, anyway, there's not much more Celtic news kicking around. It is obviously International Week. And when I saw those 3 items in news kicking around today, I thought that's the easy story. Probably should have left it for tomorrow morning, some of them. But there is there'll be Celtic sites all covering it. Anyway, in other news, what is really going on with the Johan Malby, and then Johan Malby yesterday, and then today, John Hartson. Yes, John Hartson has been talking about the fact that Celtic could be selling Nico Kuhn in the next transfer window. What is it about ex-Celtic players that just they get asked? They obviously get asked the question, and then they just feel the need to say, "Yep." Do you know what I mean? He's going to be sold. Just reading one comment. Big Des says Lanky's been spot on most times. I think he writes for The Simpsons. He maybe does write for The Simpsons. I don't know. And current viewers, that's the two of them are wrong. Anyway, just a bit of breaking news tonight. Let me see. You should do another poll. Nah. I say that Matt O'Reilly's been talking about his time at Celtic once again, and then the Celtic women play Chelsea. Celtic women play Chelsea tomorrow. It's tomorrow, isn't it? It's Tuesday tonight. Chelsea, who's all going to that game? In the group, I mean, the Celtic women have got a group of death, haven't they? They've got Chelsea, Real Madrid 20, and then us. Why is the Women Champions League not changed to the same format? Interesting, it's not. It's still, the women's have still got the old format. You think they would change the women's at the same time? So yeah, there must be a game on tonight. Nope. Why is it saying it's live? It's not. It's tomorrow. Anyway, we move on. Regardless. There's talk about Johnny Kenny returning. Yep, native Wolf 666. Johnny Kenny, his loan runs out at the end of this month. I'm sure it's the end of November. It definitely runs out in December. Johnny Kenny will return, but it's whether or not Celtic, will see him as a first team starter and as an heir to the throne to Kyogo. If they're looking at Kidsford, if they're sending scouts over again to look at Kidsford to see how he's progressed, that tells me that they're still interested in him. Johnny Kenny's about the same age. You could say that Johnny Kenny's been doing it in Europe, but they're two different types of players. I think that Celtic, for me, Johnny Kenny is still a bit lightweight. He's a bit like Kyogo. And I think that Brendan Rodgers doesn't really like that type of forward, does he? I mean, his type of forwards are usually big, stronger guys. That's no disrespect to Johnny Kenny, no disrespect to Kyogo, but Kyogo gets pushed off the ball a bit and he gets knocked over in his shoulder. When you look at, for me, I think that Johnny Kenny will be sold in this transfer window. If we're definitely going for Kidsford, that's purely down to the manager. That's the manager being laser focused on who he wants in the team. And for me, that can only be a good thing, because if Brendan Rodgers is getting his way this time at Celtic have obviously learned for the last time that Brendan was at the club. Anyway, right. I'm only staying on for half an hour tonight. You've got 7 minutes more. Let me just say that. Nico Kuhn transfer. That's we've covered that one. The football, the women. Callum McGregor. Callum McGregor shares why Nico Kuhn as another one that story that's kicking around tonight, with 17 appearances under his belt. The 2.8 January sign. It's mental to think that we only signed Nico Kuhn in January, but he's scored 10 goals and 11 assists. Everyone seems to be desperate to try and chase Nico Kuhn out the door. Absolutely chase him out the door. But anyway, Callum McGregor says that Nico Kuhn's pre-season performances for Celtic was a launchpad that allowed the winger to enter his rich vein of form. Callum McGregor says he's unbelievable. His form has been incredible, especially for a young, wide player. Sometimes you can be a little bit come and go. You can be good one day and crap the next. But he says since the Man City game in pre-season, he's been unplayable. His numbers obviously back that up as well, says Callum McGregor. He's in brilliant form, says Callum McGregor. We've got someone, when you've got someone like that, at the top of the pitch, you know that he can take the pressure and he can also get big goals for Celtic. The magnificent Kuhn. Oh, will he be known as the magnificent Kuhn? Anyway, let's jump back into the comment section. And Craig says, no danger, Johnny Kenny has a future at Celtic. I don't think so. I don't think he has. I think you're right there. I think that Celtic, Ian Aberdeen FC, has he made a comment, or is he just put £20 in the chat? Thanks for that, Ian Aberdeen FC. Ian Aberdeen FC was a guy that came on to congratulate Celtic and the Celtic fans after the absolute demolition. Absolute demolition. I'm totally gobsmacked. So he's given us a super chat of £20, says Aberdeen FC. And we did say to you, Aberdeen FC, we said go out and beat the zombies. And you certainly did yourselves no harm for this season, haven't you? And it's been good. It's good, and keep it up, because I think that it can only benefit Scottish football that Aberdeen are up there and keeping Rangers down in third position. All we need now, and I've said it before, I'll say it again, I really want Dundee United to overtake Rangers in the league, as well as Motherwell. I want the resurgence. Oh no, the internet's just went off. No, it has not. Are we still on? Are we still live? Hey, we just had a better bucket. No way we're selling Kuhn in January. Nope, we're not selling Kuhn in January. We just had a power surge. Well, the lightning storms that we're having. Anyway, is he the next captain? I'm not sure if he's the next captain. When you think about it, if he's the next captain, what does it say to Luke McCowan? I think Luke McCowan's potentially captain material before Lennon Miller. He would have to be captain after Luke McCowan, if you ask me. Still on Baz, yeah, we're still. I don't know what happened there. We had a power surge. We've had some cracking lightning storms tonight. Anyway, still working. O plus Jamie's a no as well. It's under 36, you know. Anyway, that's us done and dusted for this evening, I think. A big shout out to Aberdeen Ian Aberdeen. I think we can all say that we're all wanting Aberdeen to do as well as we can. It shouldn't jump off. There's 515 on the live tonight. Just keep the live going, eh? Still live. AJ or Luke will be the future captain, says Sarah. Yep, I think Alistair Johnson, if we could keep him here long enough, it will be interesting to see if Alistair Johnson signs that new contract in the winter, in this window, or if he waits a couple of weeks. But yeah, definitely Luke McCowan is one for the future. And if we can you just imagine in years to come, to about 2 or 3 years, about not even that, but a year's time, if you've got Lennon Miller in midfield and Luke McCowan, two young Scottish guys running the midfield for Celtic, that would be absolutely fantastic. Stephen Johnson's in the house. How yours? Oh my God, can I see you at the window for a foggy dew? Danny Cassie says, how's the weather, for God's sake? We've got some crazy weather tonight again. Mike Ross is in the house. Let me just see. Let's get an update on this. Notice that the Celtic women play the Sevconians on January the 19th against in the semi-final. What's that story kicking about earlier? So yeah, that's it about tonight. That's all the breaking news on tonight. There's no use dragging it out any longer. The breaking news was obviously the fact that Lennon Miller is going to be subject of a £5.3 million deal. That would put him ahead of Scott Brown, because remember Hibs sold Scott Brown to Celtic for £4.5 million. For £4.5 million, he was the most expensive signing between two Scottish teams, Scott Brown. This deal would absolutely kick that out the water, and if we can keep a hold of Lennon Miller, if we sign him, if the deal can be done, if we can keep him just about as half as long as what we kept Scott Brown, and if he can have the career that Scott Brown has at Celtic, I tell you one thing, he's going to have a fantastic time. The other news coming out this evening was the fact that Alexandro Bernabe's agents and staff from the Brazilian club International are on their way to Scotland to try and make the deal permanent. And then there's other news kicking out that Celtic are sending scouts again ahead of the January transfer window. Celtic are sending scouts to have a look again at the Danish forward Mathias Kidsforgarden. The thing is, with the one and only, he's done it twice. Is he mad? If somebody hacks your account, Ian Aberdeen FC, I think the fact that if Kidsforgarden has any contact whatsoever with our Danish goalkeeper, there's only one thing that he's going to do. And will that make our Danish goalkeeper stay for one more season? What will happen? Anyway, do the egg, says Michael. Do the egg. We should cash in on Palmer too. Should we cash on Louis Palmer? I think Celtic wanted to put him out on loan, and he wants to fight for his place. So we'll see what happens with that. Anyway, that's me done and dusted for tonight. Big shout out to Ian Aberdeen FC, who is absolutely fantastic. I'm probably off my head jumping off this when there's 500 odd people on it. But if you've just jumped on, you can rewind it back and watch it all over again. So on that note, I will be back tomorrow night. Yes, we will be back tomorrow night. 9 o'clock Celtic, 8 o'clock Celtic part-time. In fact, wait a minute, because there's a game on tomorrow, isn't there? The Celtic women is on, so we'll need to watch that as well. We'll do the live, and we'll do a kind of a little bit of a watch along. We'll check in on the women, and a lot of people will. Celtic are trying to get as many people as possible, so the live might be a little bit quieter. Anyway, on that note, have an absolutely fantastic evening. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. We are sitting on, just get Bernabe out the road, 19,658. We're trying to get to 20,000 before the January transfer window opens. Ideally, we'd like to get there before we play that lot on the 15th of December. Anyway, have a fantastic evening, Celtic fans, and everyone else, wherever you are. All